And while they were doing that, this is sort of was our addition to this type of operation, was while they were doing this big construction project, obviously the situation was very vulnerable for the American forces. And so what we would do is I would push our SEALs out into perimeter buildings that were maybe 200 or 300 yards away. And so when the enemy would come to attack, we'd kill them.
What a crazy scene that must have been, to be taking these buildings and then reinforcing them and then turning them into military bases. And then one after another, you're doing this too.
Yeah. Yeah. It was an awesome effort. And I think a good number, we put in one combat outpost, and there was, the Army engineers put in 30,000 sandbags in one combat outpost. It's like 3 buildings, just all.
Good thing's a lot of sand out there.
Yeah. No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Wow. And so how many buildings did you guys wind up taking overall?
Probably a total of like 10 combat outposts, each one having 2, 3, or 4 buildings. And again, let me clarify, when I say we, I'm talking about this massive effort of the 11 AD, which is the 1st Brigade, 1st Armored Division, and all the battalions that were underneath them, including one Marine Corps battalion. And the reason I'm pointing that out, Joe, is those guys were just unbelievable heroes. They really were. They were awesome.
You choked up.
Yeah, these guys were awesome. They really were.
Yeah, I can only imagine the emotional attachment that you have to that.
Yeah, and you can Google Navy SEALs and find 20 million news stories about them. And that's great. But these guys, to have seen them, kids, because, you're talking about earlier how the SEALs, guys like me, this is what we want to do. Well, these guys didn't all necessarily have that attitude. And as a matter of fact, the guys that were in Ramadi with us when we first got there, they were reserve unit out of Pennsylvania, the 228 Iron Soldiers. They were reservists. These guys were teachers, like what you see when they talk about these reservists. These guys were teachers and professors and, bakers, and they had real jobs in the real world and wanted to get home to their family, and yet they were there grinding it out against a hardened enemy. And so, yeah, it's a crazy thing to see, and it's very humbling to be around people like that. It really is.